Alright, so we're going to talk about the proportions of a figure. Now before I get into that, I want to talk about these little mannequins, okay? So in the back cabinet, in the silver one, you're going to find large mannequins and small mannequins, alright? And it really honestly doesn't matter which one you choose because the way you treat them is going to be the same. You are not going to go swirling their arms back and forth. You are not going to be pulling off any of these pieces because they are fragile, okay? When you do line them up, okay, this flat spot is the front, the round part is the back, okay? You'll have a divot, that means it's the chest, and a lot of times you just want to round everything around, okay? Proportions. Okay, so a couple of things that you need to know. So first thing, did you know that a human is about 8 heads high? Okay. You're with from one end. So if we also do this, by the way, did you know that the span from your tip to your fingers to this one is how big you are this way as well? Okay. And your foot is the same size as your forearm. Forearm right here. Pretty neat, right? Okay, so little fun facts. Okay. So here we go. We're going to break this down, and you are going to actually draw a couple little of, figures. And it's going to be just 2 figures that you're going to end up drawing. This is not about tracing, so please don't trace. Okay, so we're going to go through and we're going to copy kind of this, and we're going to see where it falls on here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the head. Okay, so the head on here is this. So if we kind of like cut it off right here, so this is where the head is. So it's 1 thigh high. The next we're going to find is the shoulders, all right, and everything else. The next, the torso. So when we go through, we're almost imagining that this whole rib cage, okay, and everything else have all certain spots, all right? So I want to flatten him out so you guys can see him from above. Okay, so a couple of key points. Halfway is right in this space. It's almost like if you sat down, and you know the crease that you have your legs at, and if I kind of put my hand there and I stood up, that's where that crease is, okay? So we can kind of imagine, let's put our hips here. Put like a rectangle. Okay? So rectangle there, all right? Now, the line that's here, it's kind of like where your belly button is, okay? So we're going to go work that way, okay? So that's our goal, is to end up right there. All right, shoulders. So you kind of want to go almost like they're 2 heads apart, okay? So if I took this head and I kind of like separated it here and here, we could almost put 2 heads next to each other. So I'm going to kind of imagine that we have one shoulder here and one shoulder here, okay? In between is where our shoulder blades are. So kind of arch it over. Okay. Now this arch is going down because if you look at the way your shoulders are, they're not straight across. If you guys look at here, they're not straight across. They actually angle down. Your neck comes out kind of like at the top of your jawbone, which is right underneath your ears, down. Okay. Now the easiest way to kind of like imagine how to do this is I take one armpit and go to one hip, another armpit to the other hip. Okay? And now we can kind of see how we're going to gauge this. All right? So we're going to go up here, a little bit thinner in the center, right here. All right? Same like here. Okay? So we know that this bends in, we have the centers here. Okay? All right. The legs. All right, so a couple little things. The knees are halfway. These are the knees, all right? So if we kind of put them in, we tend to put them above the line, okay? And when we think of muscles, they tend to be wider and bigger at the top, like this, okay? And they get skinnier, okay? So if you want, it's not saying that you have to. This is one of my trainings that I did in college. So we'd have to put in all the joints. Okay, so I'm going to put the top of the joints, and we had to make a bigger circle and a smaller circle or oval. and then we go around and down, around and down. And you kind of get used to the whole idea is thicker and then thinner, okay? Next, we've got the feet, okay? Now the feet kind of end right here, all right? So same thing, thicker and thin. So thicker and then thin. Now, feet are kind of funny things too. So you can draw them in a couple of ways, okay? If you happily have them out, okay, where you're drawing them, like this, you can draw them from the side, or you can draw them like this, or like this, okay? So they're faced out. Or if you want to, they could totally go to the side. Up to you, okay? Now your arms, all right? Now so far so good, right? The arms are a little bit different. This part, the wrist, okay, actually goes in line with that crease. Your fingers actually extend to about mid-thigh right here. So let's put in things. So wrist goes here, wrist goes here. Your joint here, okay, this part, the elbow, goes right above here, okay? Same thing with the arms, a little wider at the top, a little thinner at the bottom. Okay. And then the arms. Honestly, with hands, because this is not really a hand worrying, not worried about the hands, you can kind of make them look like mitts. Okay, the hands, let's put that there. So what you're going to do is you're going to take one of the mannequins and you're going to position them in two different ways, and I want you to draw them small on your this page. If you can fit a third one in, that's fine with me too. Okay, so that's all you're going to really do for this one, is just to figure out the proportions. If you were drawing a real person, obviously you would be cleaning up all of this inside, okay, and you would be adding in pants. Obviously it wouldn't be hard there. It'd be more, like regular pants, or maybe there's a dress or whatever. It'll be absolutely fine, okay? All right, so let's get to it and draw me two different poses.